Hello again, it's me, your instructor, Dr. Robinson. I'm in my office now. Told you the background would change. I'm still in Boone at this moment before I go to South Africa in a couple weeks. Hey, if someone asks you, what is justice? What would you say? Or what does justice mean to you? As you can imagine, there's probably thousands of different possible definitions, maybe hundreds, I don't know. But what we're going to talk about right now is that term, what is justice? Here's what I suggest. You're going to be asked to read parts of the Declaration of Independence and the U.S. Constitution, and then to identify how they relate to the theories of justice I'm going to talk about briefly today. All right, Declaration of Independence. Go back to high school, middle school, American government class in college, whatever. It's the document we use to found our independence from Great Britain. So you read the document, you see this long list of wrongs that the settlers of the country thought the King of England had committed, and those are the reasons to declare independence. So here's part of what it says. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, keyword, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, keyword, that among these rights are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So they're saying we are founding this country so that people can be free, alive, well, happy, and treated equally. Now, of course, slaughtering natives, enslaving Africans, by today's standards would not be consistent with equality, but in the eyes of the people at the time, it was white men, property owning white men that they were talking about. So keep that in mind. Okay, so keywords: equal rights, life, liberty, happiness. Then we found the U.S. Constitution. Before that was the Articles of Confederation, but was not sufficient to hold the states together and to have a functioning nation. So the U.S. Constitution is written, all kinds of compromises are made. But as you know, middle school, high school, college, American government class, the Constitution was founded to set up the structure of the U.S. government, stating the roles and responsibilities of everybody involved, right? Powers, the limits of the powers, things like that, and ultimately rights that we have as people, as citizens, right? Or people, according to the Supreme Court, not just citizens, people in America. Okay, so here's the famous preamble. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, there's the word, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, blah, blah, blah. We do create this country. Okay. Keywords. Domestic tranquility means peace, a peaceful country. Common defense, protecting us from enemies foreign and domestic. That would include being protected from crime. Promote the general welfare. Welfare means well-being. So part of the reason to form the country is so that people can be well or happy. To secure the blessings of liberty, freedom, civil liberties, protections from an overzealous government. Implied in that is the notion of equality. Everyone has the same rights. And then to establish justice. So those are the Declaration of Independence and the U.S. Constitution. So look for the keywords, figure out what they mean, and then ask yourself, what is justice? It probably relates to those terms that you just saw. Life, liberty, equality, rights, justice, welfare, tranquility, defense. Okay, so here are your theories of justice that I'll briefly talk about, just to give you a sense of what scholars write about when they talk about justice. Number one, utilitarianism. Utility, happiness. Utilitarians say something is just if it protects the rights or the interests or the happiness of a majority of people. So, like in a democracy, we go by majority opinion, and the rest of the people just have to live with whatever decision those people are made. So it makes sense that if something makes people happy, a majority of people, if something serves the benefits of a majority of people, that would be considered just or fair. However, what about the rights of the minority? What about if a small group in society, a group that matters, What about if its rights are violated? What do we do for those people? So a criticism of utilitarianism is that it does not respect the rights of the minority, which could actually be quite a large group. So that's where libertarianism comes in. Libertarianism is the idea that what matters for justice is liberty. You saw those terms in the Declaration and the U.S. Constitution, whereas the term happiness relates to utilitarianism. So obviously we respect our freedom. We want to be free from an overzealous government. We want to make sure that people have rights, civil liberties, protections. But, so that's important. So libertarians would say that something is just if it protects your liberty, if it protects your freedom. And something's unjust if it restricts that. And libertarianism is great. We love it. We love freedom. It's what makes us so unique as a country and as a people. However, what we see over time is that if you follow a strict libertarian form of government, you end up with vast inequality. So the rich are very rich and the poor are really poor. In fact, libertarianism requires or mandates inequality. So for example, somebody has to make your hamburgers. Somebody has to tend your pool and your vegetables. And those people don't get made a lot of money. Now, you don't have to do it, or one individual person might not have to do it, but someone has to do it if you want those cheap things. So because of the vast inequality, we see people are very concerned about it because equality is so important to Americans. That brings up the next theory of justice called egalitarianism. Egalitarianism is about equality. So egalitarians say something is just if it protects our equality, and something is unjust if it threatens that. So any practice that treats people differently or violates their rights would be considered unjust according to egalitarianism. Now libertarians would object and say you can't have equal outcomes. Everyone can't have the same thing. Some people work harder, some people are smarter, some people deserve more. Yeah, that's why we try to combine these theories and consider all of them in America. That's why all of these things are important to us when it comes to justice in the United States. We believe in happiness, utilitarianism. We believe in freedom, or libertarianism. And we believe in equality, or egalitarianism. So we often will prioritize one over the other depending upon the situation. And that's what theories of justice suggest we should do. Finally, you have virtue-based theories. There's lots of these, and this is basically just something is just if it's morally right, and something is unjust if it's morally wrong. Obviously, Americans consider themselves to be a very just people, a very moral people, a very virtuous people. But as you can imagine, we disagree about things like abortion, gay marriage, lots of things like that, whether police are using excessive force against citizens, lots of things like that. The death penalty, is that moral? And so it's hard to use virtue-based theories to establish any kind of key truths about justice when people so vastly disagree. I'll ask you to consider this. If something violates our liberty, if something makes people unhappy, and if something is applied unequally, what virtue could you possibly base that practice on to make it just? That's a question I often ask. Now consider these theories, do some research on them, look up some other things, Google these terms that I've said, and see if you can find which of these theories of justice is reflected in the Declaration of Independence and the U.S. Constitution. So read those documents, the Declaration and the Constitution, and tell me which theories of justice do you actually see in there. And I'll give you a hint. It's more than one. See you next time.